All right, the first Constitution of the United States, a system designed to unite 13 states, but why didn't it last? Here's the story of the Articles of Confederation and the lessons that we learned from it. I'm Matt Hasquin. I'm a high school social studies teacher. I teach civics and history, and I'm here just to kind of broaden depth of knowledge and just introduce some folks to the world of learning. So let's tell the story behind the Articles of Confederation. The Articles of Confederation were the first governing document of the United States, and it was created to unite the 13 original colonies during and after the American Revolution. But despite its overall importance in the early years of the new country, the Articles ultimately failed to provide a strong and effective framework for governing, instead leading to their replacement by the U.S. Constitution in 1787. The Articles of Confederation are a critical part of American history because, well, they laid the groundwork for our country's system of government while highlighting the flaws that would be, well, later addressed by the Constitution. So let's talk about the background here. So after the Declaration of Independence in 1776, and we have to remember that the Declaration is not a governing document. So the 13 colonies found themselves in need of some type of system of government that would unify them together as they fought against Great Britain. At the time, the colonies were deeply distrustful of any kind of centralized power, and so their experience with British rule under a monarch who had far-reaching authority made them rather wary of creating a government that could become tyrannical. So they were fearful of a strong central government, and as a result, they sought to create a system that decentralized what was happening with the government. And the states then would retain their sovereignty, their ability to govern themselves. And so the Second Continental Congress, which was convened in 1775, managed, the war effort there in the early days. And it recognized the need for a formal written agreement between the colonies. In 1777, the Continental Congress, adopted the Articles of Confederation, which was a document established to create a confederation of states. A confederation is essentially a loose association, a loose alliance, rather than any kind of strong central government. So eventually the Articles will get ratified in 1781, and it creates a system of government that was based on the principle of state sovereignty. And it had some pretty unique features to it when you compare it to the Constitution today. It had a unicameral legislature, which meant the Articles established this idea of a one-house Congress, one-chamber Congress, where each state had one vote, regardless of the state's size or population, and this was in keeping with the desire to avoid a strong central government, but it also made the process of decision-making, legislating, slow and difficult. It also limited central power. Under the Articles, the central government had very, very limited powers. And so the Congress of the Confederation, which it would become known as after 81, could declare war, it could make treaties, it could handle foreign affairs, but it lacked the authority to tax. It could not regulate commerce. It had no enforcement branch. It didn't have an executive branch where it could enforce laws. And this meant that the government relied on the states for funding and military support, which was often unreliable. Like I just mentioned, the absence of an executive branch was paired with the absence of a judicial branch. So the Articles didn't establish either of these branches, so there's no presidency and no federal or national court system. So there was no central figure to enforce the laws or the ability to resolve disputes between the states. This lack of executive power contributed to the weak central government they were looking for, but also it created an inability to respond effectively to crises that arose. Now, when it came to any kind of changes, any amendments to the Articles of Confederation, you had to have you had unanimous consent. So it had to be 13 out of 13, which made it virtually impossible to make any changes to the government of the Confederation. Add to that the Articles gave each state the right to maintain its own sovereignty, which meant states were largely independent from one another, essentially like 13 independent countries that were agreeing to work together. Now, this brings us to the problems with the Articles of Confederation. So, while the Articles served as the first governing document for the new nation, they quickly just showed us what kind of flaws they had, right? First thing was what they set out to do, a weak central government. The central government's inability to tax was one of its most significant weaknesses. Without a reliable source of revenue, the government could not pay off war debts or fund its operations. And so Congress was forced to ask the states for money. Many of the states were unwilling or unable to contribute, which led to financial instability. Adding to that, the inability to regulate commerce, no power to regulate commerce, the Articles lacked that ability to say, hey, you know what, we're going to take care of interstate commerce between the states or foreign trade. And this created confusion and conflict among the states. States could impose tariffs on one another and engage in trade practices that were effectively detrimental to the national economy. Because the central government didn't have an executive branch, it had no authority to enforce any kind of laws. This made it difficult to maintain any semblance of order, resolve any disputes between the states, or implement any kind of nationwide policies. Then you add to that the requirement for unanimous consent to amend the Articles, and the one vote per state system made the decision-making or the legislating ability of the Confederation Congress, cumbersome or unwieldy. And so you had states that were competing with one another, having competing interests, and Congress struggled to pass laws or take decisive action. Then we have Shays' Rebellion. This is one of the most significant events that highlighted the weaknesses of the Articles. And this was in 1786 and it spilled over into 1787. It was a revolt that was led by Daniel Shays. He was a former officer in the Continental Army and he was a farmer. And the rebellion that Shays was at the head of was sparked by, economic hardship, high taxes, aggressive debt collection. And so Shays and his followers attempted to seize arms and overthrow local government in Massachusetts. The rebellion was put down, but it exposed the inability of the federal government under the Articles of Confederation. I shouldn't even say federal government. I should say a confederal government, and a government of the Confederation. And it's the government that was under the Articles to respond to these kind of uprisings. And so this signaled a need for stronger government. So this leads us to, the call for reform. The weaknesses of the Articles of Confederation became increasingly apparent as the nation faced internal and then external challenges. In 1787, a group of leaders from the different states, including James Madison, Alexander Hamilton, and George Washington, meet in Philadelphia after a failed meeting in Annapolis to try to take care of the problems with the Articles of Confederation. Initially, this meeting in Philadelphia was meant to amend the Articles, but that wasn't the case. So, hey, let's revise the Articles. Nope. Madison had it built into his mind that, a new constitution, small c, government is needed. Constitution's a term that just means plan of government. And so the result was the U.S. Constitution, and it was created a much stronger central government with the power to tax, regulate commerce, and provide for the common defense. The Articles of Confederation matter because they were the first attempt at a national government for the United States. Though they were ultimately unsuccessful, they provided valuable lessons on the importance of a strong central government, the need for checks and balances, the difficulties of uniting a diverse group of states with differing interests. And so the Articles then set the stage for the drafting of the U.S. Constitution, which established the framework of government that we know now. You should like, comment, follow, share, question for more things that you should know by being alive, because understanding the Articles of Confederation helps us appreciate the foundations of government, our government, and the journey to a stronger union. Thanks for watching.